What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
And I am the OG Fig Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate, Thomas Montalto, and I'm back.
I'm back too, and we also have a special guest with us today, man. We have ToeTagz from the Nukkle Hedd Podcast. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm all right, man. Just chilling, bro. How's y'all guys doing?
I mean, we're doing all right.
Doing good.
Good, thanks.
Tom and I missed the debate last week, so we're back. We have a good guest for this week. We're excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah, man. So tell everybody a little bit about your podcast and how they can find you guys.
Yeah, man. The Nukkle Hedd Podcast, we talk about everything from comic books to movies to wrestling to life. You know, it was just basically, you know, me and my boys talking about wrestling, talking about stuff, and I felt like the topics were interesting. And our podcast is basically us shooting the shit about stuff. And,
That's awesome.
You know, yeah, and throughout the podcast, we met other people like, you know, Kenny from the Call Up and GG for the Win. They came on and, you know, we just clicked and, you know, we talk about wrestling, current events, old school stuff and everything.
I love that, man. I love a good podcast. It just encompasses everything.
Yeah, man.
Especially comic books, movies, wrestling. I mean, that's
movies. That's hitting me close in my heart right there.
Yeah.
The whole thing sounds fun. Like,
yeah.
It's exactly what you love to listen to.
Yeah,
well,
man.
we do separate ones throughout the week. So like Mondays we do me and Kenny would do the Raw reaction, and then Tuesdays we talk about comic books. Wednesdays we do movie reviews, and then Thursdays we do wrestling. Fridays we talk about life.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, man, I think we've talked a little bit about it, but what we do, we have 3 topics. I know, ToeTagz, you brought one to the table. We'll do 10, 15 minutes on each topic. Get debating, get talking.
Let's do it.
You guys ready to get into it? Tom, you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
I know you're a little rusty, so let's get into it. All right, so our first topic of the evening. Would Windham Rotunda have more creative freedom in Impact Wrestling or AEW? Windham Rotunda, easy enough for me to say.
AKA Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Yep.
I mean, honestly, I think that both companies would be smart enough to allow him to have heavily input. I don't really know if he's going to get more in either one. I think both know what the guy could do. Both could benefit from it. Anybody's going to benefit from having a guy with that creativity. Why are you not going to unless you're WWE, why are you not going to let him do what he could do?
See, I think he's going to have way more creative freedom in Impact Wrestling just because they're the smaller company. They're at the mercy of a star like that. For a star like that to come into a company that's, what would you say? They're the 4th company in the world. Like if I would say WWE, AEW, New Japan, and then probably Impact.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Yeah.
So for someone to land a star like that, you're going to have to give up freedom. AEW, I've even heard reports about AEW saying that now this might be dirt sheet bullshit, but there are reports out there that some of his ideas were a little too outlandish for even Tony Khan, that he would have to be reeled in just a bit. And if you remember when Matt Hardy came in and they did the whole broken thing and they did the teleportation angle on Dynamite where he floated down into the ring, that thing is one of the only storylines that Tony Khan looks back on as a regret. So is he going to let Bray go full tilt? Where I think Impact has proven that they like some of those stars going wild. You know, look at Decay, look at Rosemary. They do a lot of outlandish shit. So I would say Impact would give him more freedom.
I agree. I think Impact would give him a lot more freedom. And it's, you know, with AEW, I know the closest they've come to it, right? I mean, they have Abaddon, and then they've done now with House of Black, they teeter a little bit into it, but man, I think if you're going to have that creativity and you want your character to be just this wild character, I think they're going to be the ones to give you that freedom, because they don't care to open those doors like that.
I don't know if they would give him more freedom, but I honestly believe that they'll give him more encouragement, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like when Windham would go to Vince or anybody in WWE and say these ideas, they were like, it's kind of stupid. We rather your character do this. But if he would go to Tony Khan and be like, yo, I have these ideas, Tony Khan was like, I like those ideas, but they wouldn't work on TV. Why don't we make your, like, he'll try to figure out what the character is and encourage him to make, to get his vision out in a way that would make sense on TV, instead of for just shut his ideas down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I don't want to make it seem like the fact that I'm picking Impact, I think AEW would try to put him in a box. Because I think when you're signing someone like Bray Wyatt, you know what you're getting. There's going to be a level of trust that this is a highly creative guy. He's going to have his own ideas. And I definitely think, like ToeTagz said, there's going to be encouragement from a Tony Khan.
Yeah,
but the only thing that makes me hesitant to say that they would give as much freedom as an Impact is we have yet to really see that supernatural type of character in AEW. Obviously WWE's done it. They perfected it with Undertaker, but like AEW's kind of, like you said, Sneed, they've kind of dabbled in it a little bit with Malachi Black, but they're still towing that line of like trying to be a little more sports centric. But I think that's what would make him so interesting in an AEW, more so than an Impact. Even though Impact would give him more freedom, I think he would be much more interesting in AEW, because we have yet to see a character that is full tilt in that supernatural.
I agree.
I
think with Impact too, they look at some of the stuff that they've done. The whole Who Shot
Johnny Bravo.
Who Shot Johnny Bravo. Yeah. Like I think they're up for fun stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like they're pure soap opera, man.
Right.
With a lot of their stories.
And I think it would fit well there.
Yeah, but you just think about what you said with Malachi. They let him do almost all of the decision for his character. Like, he went over it with Tony Khan, and they gave him freedom. So they're going to listen to what he has to say. And if it makes sense, I think they would let him do it. But yeah, I do agree. Impact would probably say, "Go, here's the ball, go run with it. See what you could do."
Yeah.
Do you think that Impact does that as, I don't want to say desperation, but it's like they have less of a reach for audience? So what they do grasp, they have to go outlandish. They're like, yo, the bigger the better, because we don't have but so many people are watching us anyway. So we have to give you something different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're tapping into that element of the Attitude Era that the other companies aren't tapping into, that outlandish shit.
There's a word that's been said a few times that, I mean, it makes sense, because he's not in AEW and he is in Impact, is outlandish Zicky Dice.
yeah.
The outlandish was good enough for Impact,
and they didn't bring him to AEW.
So outlandish definitely does work in Impact.
Yeah.
And go back to Matt Hardy and Broken Matt Hardy. Would any other company have let him do that when Impact did?
True. That was pushing the boundaries. That's a genius example of like when that came out initially. What was it, 2015, 2016, when Matt Hardy did that? Dude, that was like unlike anything we had seen at the time. Like, it was off the wall. Like, it was almost like so out there, you either loved it or you hated it, because it was so different.
Yeah.
And like, Tom, you talk about, Malachi Black has had, he's controlling his character and he's having that freedom, and I totally agree. But do you think, I almost think Malachi Black's creativity and the stories he's telling are really wrapped in subtlety. Everything he's doing is very subtle, and it's not that boom in your face. And then you've got Bray, who is very much an over the top character, because even when he was, the Wyatt family, that was very in your face, even though it was a little more controlled than the Fiend, it was still like an in-your-face character. Where
Right.
Malachi, I feel like he's a little more subtle in his approach.
And not only that, Malachi has a mind for wrestling. The way he tells stories in the ring, it all just blends together, from his promos to his Instagram posts to the video he did the day that was released before he debuted on Dynamite. Like, the guy is his wisdom is beyond almost anything we've seen for a wrestler. Like, he just gets it. He knows how to captivate people. Like, he's so good.
And
He's so freaking good.
he still carries over the eye damage from WWE that he got from Seth Rollins.
Yep.
100%.
When I heard that, I was like, yo, this guy's a genius.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's almost like a little more, for me, Malachi's a little more of a total package than Bray. Because
Yeah,
like
100%.
not only is he telling good stories in his vignettes and his promos, but you know, his in-ring work is top notch. Where Bray, I feel like Bray is definitely, his bread and butter is the vignettes and the promos.
For sure.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
like the in-ring, I like him in the ring, but he's not at the level of a Malachi Black or like an Andrade or some of those in-ring guys.
No, Malachi,
Yeah.
I mean, with the kicks and stuff that he does, that guy, he's definitely got a whole total package there.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
100% Sneed. 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
Even the way he transitions into submission
Oh.
holds.
Yep.
seems like he has. Does he have MMA training?
Yeah. Oh, I know he's got Muay Thai training, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the way he works those submissions in, like, man,
It
really
seems like
good.
he's definitely got some good.
And so
Yeah.
smooth. So friggin' smooth in the ring.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I don't
And you-
see Bray. I don't see Bray throwing or Wyndham throwing a kick like he does.
No.
I'd be
No.
surprised if he did though.
Unless it's
Oh,
to your
that's-
shin.
Yeah, right. One of them leg kicks.
If Bray could get his leg up that high, I'd be
Exactly.
surprised.
And he can even pull out some like high aerial shit. Like he was hitting a moonsault on Cody in part 3 of their trilogy. Like
Yeah.
he, you know, and some of his stuff in NXT, he's got the, you know, the hand-to-hand combat, and he's got the submission work, and then every now and then he'll pull out a high spot, but he pulls it out in like really slick move, like at slick times. Like he's not
Yes.
overusing high spots.
Yeah.
Right.
So today's peek behind the curtain. Today, this airs on Monday, but right now it's October 27th. So when is Bray or Wyndham's 90? When does his time come up? Does anybody
It's like
know?
a
29th.
day or two behind right before Halloween, which
Yeah.
is tomorrow. Well,
Okay.
I
yeah,
think it's
Friday.
29th, 30th, somewhere in there.
I
Like
think it's
in
the
the
29th, if I remember.
Okay.
So
So we could possibly see him show up at any time. Somewhere.
somewhere.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
So do you guys think it is that he does show up in AEW or Impact, or what do you think happens with it? I mean,
I think we're not going to know for a while. I think they're going to just sit on it. I think if he's going to AEW, I wouldn't be surprised if it's next year. They're just going to let him sit home so they could shock us. Let people kind of give up and like, when's he coming? He's going to be here at the pay-per-view. He doesn't show up to pay the next pay-per-view. Like, it's going to be, they're just waiting for something. They're just waiting. If he's going to show up at Impact, I think it'll be soon.
all right.
Yeah. I think he's waiting for one of those moments where everybody kind of forgets him. And then boom,
Exactly.
he just pops up.
100%.
Yeah.
If I had to make an early prediction of when I think he'll show up, I think he'll show up at the first quarterly event on TNT after the first of the year. You know how they're doing, how AEW's doing the 4 quarterly events starting in 2022. I feel like that
That's
would be a way to
genius.
kick that, like, hey, these quarterly events aren't just going to be like Dynamite. Big things are going to happen at these. And I think that's a killer way, because to me, I don't want him. If he's coming to AEW, I don't want him in the next couple months, because dude, AEW needs to settle into the guys they have and give us some storytelling with them before we start bringing in more dudes.
I agree. Definitely.
Yeah,
There's
I
a lot.
agree.
There's so much going on right now that we don't need somebody else in the mix.
No, not yet.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Plus, like, I think we've talked about this before, but like with Bray, I feel like even if you sign him, say they sign him today, if AEW signs him today, I want to see 2.5 months of mysterious vignettes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like building to some person's arrival that we don't know, and it isn't so on the nose. And because every other person, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, they were just shocking surprises with no vignettes. I miss those old school, like $1 Million Man, Mr. Perfect, the Exalted one. When we saw like just this buildup of like, oh shit, who is this? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Make us wait. And then boom, out of nowhere, they come out. I want one of those with Bray.
I agree.
All right, guys. Anybody have any final thoughts before we move on?
No.
I have a quick question for you guys. Sure. If he were to show up in AEW, would you want him to be the leader of the Dark Order?
I wouldn't mind it, depending on how it's done.
I wouldn't mind it, but I think that there's a better way to do Dark Order than to immediately put him into it.
I just want him to come in with something all his own and fresh.
I feel the same way.
What if he comes in not the leader of Dark Order, but they eventually wind up coming over to him one by one?
Or he comes in and makes it his mission to destroy the Dark Order.
Yeah, something like that. Although I don't know how he would like to go destroy something that his buddy.
No, that's all kayfabe though.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's still real to Tom.
Still real to me.
It's still real to me. Damn it!
It's still real to Tom.
The hell does kayfabe mean?
I think something like that would be interesting if Brody Lee's son was old enough to wrestle, because it'd almost be like he's trying to take his son away from the Dark Order and like be his own mentor to him.
That would be awesome.
That'd be some Kill Bill, Vernita Green stuff.
Yeah.
With the daughter and the cereal.
Yeah. Stuff like I'm all for bringing in the reality. Like the more reality you can bring into storylines, the more invested I become.
I talked about that on sessions today. Last week.
It's so true.
Reality driven stories make everything better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, you guys ready to get into the next topic?
Let's do it.
All right. So our next topic of the evening is AEW booking their women's division better than WWE. Now, ToeTagz, this is the one that you brought to the table. So I'm going to defer to you, let you go ahead and jump in on this one first.
All right. Well, I originally thought of this topic because you noticed like WWE for a while, they were giving their women wrestlers like more serious roles, like longer matches. And it's kind of like with the Queen's Crown, they just fell back into the 2-minute matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you watch AEW's women is like, even though they might not be as seasoned as the WWE's women's talent, but they still get enough time, even if they're botching, they get enough time to tell their story. The announcers respect the match and they push through it. And it seems like a way bigger deal to be the AEW's women's champion than a SmackDown or a Raw's champion.
I'm with you 100% on this one. Like, what happened to the women's evolution, man? What happened to Stephanie McMahon and all the girls coming out and all this bullshit? Ronda Rousey, they have like digressed in their booking of their division. And I'm totally with you that like, if we're arguing who is more seasoned in the ring, what's the cleaner matches, probably WWE. They're all of their talent. They have the performance center. They're always getting ring time, especially back before the pandemic when they were on the road. But if we're talking about just matches, like you said, the girls in AEW are getting time in the ring. Most of their matches, when Serena Deeb and Sheeta was on, this was during the Queen's Crown tournament. Sheeta and Serena Deeb went, I believe, over 10 minutes. And then 3 of the Queen's Crown matches added up to about 8 minutes. So it's like,
if that.
And I don't know. I think the women in AEW, although not seasoned, they're getting chances. And one of my critiques of their division at the time they first started is they only had one storyline going on. It was usually tied up with whoever the champ was in AEW, but now they're starting to create mid-card storylines.
Yep. There's like 3 stories now.
There's a lot of storylines.
Right off the top of my head, I could think of 3.
You've got Jade Cargill and that whole situation. You have kind of a feud that we've forgotten about. We've got Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. Now we have Ty Conti and Britt Baker for the title coming up. You have
Bunny
and Anna Jay and Penelope. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
tied into that.
And Sheeta going for her 50th win.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, they made that important. You know.
Yeah.
I love the way they did that too. I love that they did it, brought the trophy out, and she lost.
And then
she lost.
Yeah. And then over on WWE, you have Dana Brooke just coming out and just stinking the ring up every week. Like,
Yep.
Come on.
Listen, what isn't AEW booking better than WWE right now? Like the whole WWE.
The only thing's Roman.
Roman. That's a great story. But the women, even if they are green in AEW, how are they going to get better? By working matches, not 2-minute matches.
Right.
They're giving them the time, and you've seen how far these women have come already in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
So bravo to them for giving them the time, and now bravo for them to booking them right. So
yeah, I agree. I think AEW is doing such. Starting off, you're not going to be. You have to amp it up. But I think the way they've amped it up here recently, I think it's been so much more entertaining than what WWE is doing. I think they're booking it so much better. I love what Dustin's done, taking them under this wing. And you have so many young, really good talent. Kiera Hogan's there now.
Yeah.
And somebody that's grown on me a whole lot that I didn't care for really was Red Velvet.
Yeah.
She's growing on me also, yeah.
Yep. Still not a huge fan of her gimmick, but her in ring, she's getting better.
You hate the stir it up thing, Sneed. You hate the stir it up.
I can't give that. I'm not gonna be on board with it. I'm not coming around to it, man.
Wow.
I don't like it.
I wasn't a fan of the DMD, but now they got me.
That's true. I
was in Arthur Ashe Stadium with some DMD.
I can't explain it. The DMD, I do like it. The stir it up.
You don't think that Becky coming out and beating Bianca was just brilliant booking in like 26 seconds or whatever the SummerSlam match was?
I hated that, bro.
It was so garbage. Bad. It was total freaking garbage.
Well, their biggest problem, I'm not even going. I hate to even bring this up because it opens a can of worms that I don't really want to get into. But the biggest issue is the split brands, dude. You don't have enough female. Like, you should open that shit up where the matchups can and let girls float. Like, it's going to open up your matchups. We see the same shit. It's like you had Liv Morgan and Carmella over on SmackDown feuding, and now they moved to Raw and they're feuding over there. It's like, where's the new matchups at?
Yeah.
And
here's the thing. Sessions.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. You definitely were bringing that up and hitting close to home. Here's the thing that really makes me mad about AEW's women's division is how everybody, all fans, and the biggest thing they would bitch about in the beginning was, yeah, but their women's division sucks. Yeah, but their women's division isn't as good. It's like, dude, this company just fucking started.
It's brand new.
Like, every woman, every credible female athlete, for the most part, was signed to companies, mostly in WWE. Then Impact had a roster that's highly underrated. Yeah. So they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. Kenny Omega is bringing in Joshi talent like Sheeta and Riho. And so it's like, we're just now getting to see the work they've been putting in for 2 years. And it took time.
And it's totally different to wrestle on TV than it is to wrestle into, an independent ring where it's just a crowd that you have to play to.
Exactly.
Right.
There's TVs, there's cameras, The
production is totally different.
Right. I get it. I know that people don't like it, but on Roads to the Top, they had behind the scenes with Dustin having the females out there at the ring, and he was talking to him. He was like, "Here's the camera. This is the camera." And was going over everything with it. Him and Brandy was out there going. Dude,
and that's a fucking huge thing fans don't think about. I feel like fans just think, "Oh, you're in the ring and you're doing whatever." Dude, everything in a match when you're on television, you always hear wrestlers, old school wrestlers say, "This is your moneymaker."
Yeah.
Get that face in there. Find the hard cam. Wherever that red light is, find it. Work towards it. And it takes fucking time to do that. So give these girls a chance to improve in front of live television cameras. The first time I really noticed, like, holy shit, they're finally getting this, was Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa lights out match. When Britt is covered in fucking blood, crawling across the mat, what's she do? Subtly, she finds the fucking camera. She knows her face is a crimson mask. And that's a shot that is in the opening credits of Dynamite now. And that shit will live forever. Yeah, but you got to give girls time, indie girls who've never had this experience. You got to give them time to get comfortable in front of these fucking live cameras.
Yeah.
And to bring this point even more, if you listen to Nick Gage on Jericho, he talked about his match on AEW, and that was the first time he ever worked a live TV match. Yep. And he talked about that experience, and I thought that was very interesting to listen to.
Yeah,
like
and
a guy
in WWE, dude, they're training them. The PC, that it's not just them getting ring time. They're down there learning all the ins and outs of finding the cameras. So they have such a head start on any other company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these girls basically almost everybody that AEW had coming in at the beginning, they didn't have to worry about camera. The only thing they worried about was, do I look at the bleachers or do I look at the nacho stand? And does it matter? It didn't matter. You could look at the nacho stand. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then you get brought into this company and you have to learn, hey, there's 4 live cameras and a hard camera.
Right.
You know, if Britt Baker is going to do DMD, she can't do it, you know, with her back to the hard cam.
Right.
You know,
right.
It looks stupid.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed when I went to the live event that the wrestlers, they look at the hard cam, but they play to the crowd in front of the hard cam also.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to get the crowd that's on TV to go crazy.
Right. Yeah. It's a brilliant balance, because you've got to play to the fans who are in there, but you've also got to understand that there's more people at home watching you.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a real skill in that.
Yeah, there is. There definitely is.
I have a controversial topic about the women in WWE. I feel like they only made the women important because of Ronda Rousey. Like, if it wasn't for Ronda Rousey, there would be no female pay-per-view in WWE. It would probably have not main event of WrestleMania. They wouldn't have been all this effort for the female division in the WWE.
They built a lot.
That's listen, they didn't do Evolution a year after she was gone.
Yeah.
They haven't done another one since, so you're not far off with that comment at all.
That's a very astute observation.
That's a great observation.
Because UFC and WWE have done nothing but rip each other off for 2 decades.
Yeah.
UFC, when Dana White took over, when Dana White and the Fertittas bought UFC in, I think 2001, and they repackaged that, their whole business model was based off Vince's WWE business model. Okay. And then WWE sees Ronda Rousey becoming a global sensation in UFC. I mean, I don't know if you guys are MMA fans, but at the time I was a diehard MMA fan, watched every event, and the Ronda Rousey era in UFC was like the second coming of like a Tiger Woods type of situation.
Yeah.
We were seeing a once in a lifetime athlete, a female, dominate a very testosterone driven sport. And Vince and Stephanie McMahon are seeing that, and like, we want some of that.
Yep.
And I think when they saw that kind of coincided with that hashtag give divas a chance. And I think that Ronda Rousey situation totally sparked them. Like, we have to take a page from UFC and we have to put females in the forefront. And I feel like they've gotten away from that.
No, WWE has always done that type of thing. When Bret Hart won his first world championship, the week before, the Toronto Blue Jays won their first World Series. Like, they've always looked to like capitalize off of stuff, and just little things like that. I've always noticed them do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how many people even realized the week that Bret won his first world title, the Blue Jays won the World Series the week before. So
they're always looking to mainstream sports. Yeah.
100%.
And when they try to get into a new market, they get somebody from that culture to be the champion, like Jinder Mahal.
Yep. India, they're trying to. Yep. Exactly.
100%.
What little shits, man. Good Lord. Doing that to us, man.
Oh, I love Sneed when we get him worked up about this shit. He loves WWE.
Don't.
Yeah, I'm a diehard WWE. I grew WCW and WWE. I'm a WWE guy. But
Me too, buddy. Me too.
when Ronda Rousey was there, like I gave her, I didn't like her in MMA because I felt like she was a little rat.
Guy.
Yeah, she was like when she beat me, she said the second time, and she didn't want to shake her hand. I was like, "What you gotta do? Kill her?
Yeah.
Like, come on. You beat her up twice. Shake her hand, let her be done with." But I gave her a chance in WWE. She did okay, but it really showed the talent, the level of talent that WWE have in their women's division with Sasha Banks, with Bayley. Then Shayna Baszler came with Ronda Rousey in NXT. You had Asuka. They bring up so many people to work with Ronda Rousey and take care of her in the ring to make her look decent. And then when she's gone, go sit down now.
Oh, yeah. Dude, what you're saying is exactly an indictment on their booking right now. Yeah. Because on their booking of the women's division, every name you like, think of all the names you just said, they're all still there, except for Ronda. They're all still there. Yep. And the booking is dog shit. You've got, I think Asuka might be hurt. Bayley's coming back off an injury.
She might be hurt, but the way they book her sucks. I hate the way they book Asuka.
You're right.
Yeah, she's a goofball. She's a fucking 100%. Badass, man. She was a killer in NXT. Let her be a killer. And dude, they are running into the same problems that they've ran into with their men's division. They've got this core group of their top people, their Charlottes, their Sashas, their Baileys, their Beckys, their Asukas, and they lean on them. Meanwhile, the lower to mid card just sits there and fucking does nothing.
Yeah.
Like, dude, build your other people up. We need new names. I don't want to see the same 4 or 5 names recycled over and over.
I feel like that statement right there could be plugged into almost anything WWE's doing.
Yes, for real. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Build other people.
Just build your young people, man.
When they do give their mid-card women talent time, it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like you can't do nothing in that time.
What the fuck is Liv Morgan doing? She should Liv Morgan, Shotzi Blackheart, I think could be a star.
Yeah.
She's great. Even Tony Storm. Who the fuck is Tony Storm? Tegan Knox. Push these women up, elevate them, at least give them like a really good mid-card storyline. But their mid and low-card storylines, they don't mean jack shit.
Yep. Zelina Vega did like a 10-minute promo about the Queen's Crown when she get coordinated, and then she had like a 3-minute match with Doudrop.
Yep.
Which I don't know how you call her Doudrop, but
that Piper Niven. Let's be real here. It's fucking Piper Niven.
Yeah. I think that right there, that just ends that whole topic debate right there. All right. You guys ready to move on to this next?
Let's move on.
I mean, it's not far off from what we're talking about anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the final topic of the evening, which is are Charlotte Flair's best years behind her?
Hell no. I mean,
in WWE they are.
Well, I mean, she's more entertaining now than she's ever been, just going with what you want to say on the mic and not caring what's scripted anymore. I mean, it's entertaining again. But if she goes, like, she hasn't lost anything in the ring. She hasn't lost that. If she goes to AEW where the handcuffs are off and she's not overprotected like everybody else is, watch out. Like, she has the best years ahead of her. Not only are her best years not behind her best years are still ahead.
I would say that her best years were behind her when she left NXT. To be honest with you, because I wasn't impressed with the match she had with Nikki Bella, but you could blame Nikki Bella for that because she's not really the most technically sound. She tries to do Andrade's moves now, and you could tell, like, yo, honey, that's not for you. you know what I'm saying? Like,
so true.
The best matches she has are with Sasha Banks and Bayley, and now with Bianca Belair on Raw. That was a pretty good match that they had.
Great match. They did put on a good match.
Yeah, but it almost seemed like she turned into like a John Cena. I'm gonna do the backflip off the top rope to the outside, chop you a few times. We're gonna make this match slow pace, and then I'm gonna win. There's not really much.
She doesn't want to be in WWE anymore. She doesn't want to be there.
She's young. She's fucking bored.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
not, she's bored. She's like she's disgruntled. She doesn't
She
want to
wants
be
to-
there. I mean, if we're talking like, are her best years behind her? She's 35. You know what I mean? Like, she's been in the game since 2012 in NXT. Like, if we're talking just like young, youthful in the ring, probably physically her best years are behind her. But I'm a firm believer most wrestlers, outside of suffering a major injury, most wrestlers get better when they get older.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Like their in-ring work gets better. They're more smooth. They know how to tell stories. So like physically, I mean, Charlotte and Sasha both have made probably 7, 8, 9 years worth of just putting their body through the fucking ringer, man.
Yeah.
Like those
Yeah.
matches they had. I mean, Sasha and Bailey, that Brooklyn match, dude, that took a year off their career. Like they took some crazy bumps. So that
Yeah.
dive that Sasha does, and Charlotte's doing crazy shit too, man. Like Ric Flair's even been quoted as saying, like, man, sometimes when she has those matches, I'm like, I'm scared for her because
Yeah.
we didn't do stuff like that. So that makes me say physically her best years are behind her. But if the rumors are true, she's disgruntled, she's trying to get out of her contract or whatever, and say she goes to AEW with Andrade, even though maybe her youthful physicality won't be what it was in say 2016, 2017, dude, she is going to elevate that women's division. And I think she's in her wrestling prime right now. Maybe not her physical prime, but she is in her storytelling, in the ring, kayfabe prime. And I think like when the cuffs are off and we see a Charlotte go into a company like AEW, and I mean, that's instantly going to elevate that. Think of how much elevation she would give to a Britt Baker, to a Chris Statlander, to a Jade Cargill. I mean, dude, it would be incredible to see her with reinvigorated. Look at Bryan Danielson. He looks like he's having the time of his life, and he is putting on stiff, hardcore wrestling matches. And to see her do that in a company and not, she just seems unhappy. Honestly, she seems very unhappy.
She is
to me.
unhappy. And that's why I think her best years in are behind her in WWE.
Yeah, 100%.
Sure.
But imagine her versus I just had the name in my head. The one that Britt Baker, the lights out match.
Oh, Thunder
Rosa. Imagine Charlotte versus Thunder Rosa.
Whew.
That match would be insane.
Charlotte Flair could turn a Red Velvet into a next version of Sasha Banks. I'm not saying as good as Sasha Banks, but throw in Red Velvet, throw in Ty Conte in with someone like that. It's going to elevate them because Sasha and Charlotte, they made each other.
Yeah,
those matches, they made each other.
Yep.
The question is going to be, which one of these women is going to be the first to jump ship to AEW? Whose contract's up first? Not Becky. Becky's a lifer, but I bet Bailey, Sasha, and Charlotte all want to go running.
Bailey would be my guess.
I could see Bailey.
Bailey or Charlotte, I think would go. I think Becky's in Stamford for life.
She's life. She's a lifer.
She's got Seth.
She's in for life. She's got a life sentence.
Yep. They have a WWE kid together. So
and with Sasha doing all the TV stuff, I see her, transitioning into like movies or TV shows, like acting more than any other company.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, and the way she wrestles, man, out of any wrestler, female wrestler, she's the one I worry about the most because, man, and I love her for it because she puts her body on the line.
That's funny. My wife says the same exact thing about Sasha. The way people pick her up and just slam her into the wall all the time. She's like, how long can her body take that for her?
Especially with that suicide dive where she like lands and like her back arches the wrong way. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. Yeah. But I think, and Bailey has a lot of friends in AEW.
Yeah. Ricky Starks.
She's good friends with DMD.
Yeah.
Britt Baker. So, and I'm telling you, Sasha's going to wind up there eventually too.
You think so?
Yeah. She'll make a run there. Mark my words.
I'm kind of with ToeTagz. I think I could see her career coming to an end in wrestling quicker than anyone else.
I still think she wants to have a match there. I still think she loves what she sees there. She
but
comments on it.
I think
that
that
she watches it.
I think that her being as big of a star as she is, and then transition to movies, like I think the WWE push to keep her.
Yeah.
Whether it be like on some Rock, deal where it's like, do your thing and then come in every once in a while. I can see Charlotte forcing them to get rid of her, where they would want to keep her because of her name, because she's a Flair, and that's what would instantly make AEW's Women's Division elevate because of the name.
But the bottom line is this: these WWE stars see what's happening in AEW, and WWE couldn't hold on to Daniel Bryan. They couldn't hold on to.
Yeah, but here's the difference, Tom. Daniel Bryan isn't in Star Wars Mandalorian.
True.
You know what I mean? Like he's a purebred. He wants to wrestle.
Or he wants to
Sasha's
wrestle.
in like Mandalorian. She could, I could totally see her becoming like a Rock.
I can see that, but still think she could
come
do
back
it.
to the WrestleMania run. But and one thing about like Charlotte too, when you guys did the Raw down last night, Anthony brought up the point, like, why would she? He didn't think that she would push to kind of get fired, like act out and get fired. I think he said something about why wouldn't she just sit out her contract? Well, it's not like it's not like her contract's ending anytime soon.
Right.
Her contract isn't ending in 6 months. Her contract, I'm wanting to say, she's got several years left on it.
Yeah,
So
I believe like she had 3 years left or something like that.
If 3 years. So I think her acting out and getting in that spat with Nia Jax, and then having this thing with Becky and the title switch. I think it's her dad got fired. Her man left. Now she doesn't want to be there. Now she's trying to.
But she got to be careful because she might be another Tessa Blanchard.
That's true too.
Because there's only but so much you could act out before people like, oh, look, you're bad business.
It's true.
If she sits out too, they could freeze her contract. If she says I'm going home,
I don't think.
Yeah, but
I don't think she'd be a Tessa Blanchard. I think her being an asshole in the company and getting out. Now, if she drops some foul fucking words like Tessa Blanchard did, like then I'm like, that's what got her on the fucking blacklist. Yeah. The rumors of her being a bully in the locker room, I don't think anyone gave a shit about that. So it's like Charlotte's different than any other women's wrestler, and people can say whatever the fuck they want to say about Sasha's on her level, and yeah, she's just as good, but at the end of the day, no one has the fucking pedigree. That's history. You're getting someone with lineage to arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. I mean, people forget about that, and I think they hold it against her. But at the end of the day, that is the Nature Boy's fucking daughter, man. That is royalty.
The only other person that had that was Natalya.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think she did, with her lineage as much as Charlotte did with hers.
No, and even Natalya, it's like she had the Hart lineage, but not to like speak ill of the dead and Jim Neidhart, but she was Jim Neidhart's daughter. She wasn't Bret Hart's daughter.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
that is true.
Like this is Ric Flair's daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jim Neidhart, she has that Hart family legacy, which I get, but to me, it's another level. It would be like Hulk Hogan having a daughter, or Stone Cold Steve Austin, or The Rock. The Rock does have the daughter in NXT.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see that. But
like Dusty Rhodes' daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. When Charlotte's done in WWE, she'll go to AEW. I don't think there's a question that she goes there.
Yeah.
It's
just a matter of when.
It's when, because we saw it firsthand. Tony Khan and Ric Flair sitting there talking to each other. Yeah. They obviously have a great relationship. Andrade's there. I don't think there's any question that she shows up. It's just a matter of when.
Let me ask you a question. With all this stuff going on with Charlotte, do you think Nick Khan has gone over to Vince and said, Vince, she's our highest guaranteed person here. Why don't we just let her go right now?
100%.
Do you think Vince will ever do it with her, or no? I think he's not going to give in with her.
I don't.
Dude, Vince is hard to read, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Khan would have the balls to say that to him. because like Charlotte honestly is their biggest thing in the women's division.
Yeah, but she's not even making the money for them that Bray Wyatt did.
I hear you.
She's not bringing in the merch like that.
I don't think the WWE is concerned with them making money from the fans, at least, or viewership, because their shows have been horrible.
Right? I agree.
I think they just want the name.
Exactly. I think they realize.
Becky? Is she bigger than Becky in Vince's eyes?
In Vince's eyes, I'm not sure, but in like reality, no, she's not.
Probably not, because money making wise, Becky's probably making more in merch. But wrestling wise, she's a Flair. She's awesome in the ring.
I think she has, like, for hardcore fans and for like wrestling history, she has the prestige more than anyone, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
But as far as like just star power within the casual fan base, I think Becky is their main.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
The man.
So, but it's going to be curious to see what happens if Charlotte keeps acting out. If cuts come again, I don't think they're going to cut her. I think they're going to make her wait to 3 years.
It's weird though, man, because sometimes Vince is just like, hey, you're bad for the locker room if you're just let her go. And especially when she's carrying a high price tag with her. But then on the other side, there could be that fear of, we have Becky, we have Sasha, but you're throwing away one of the 4 pillars of your female division.
Yeah.
Like,
and not only that, you think about 2 years ago, they started signing people to protect them from going to AEW. And then this year they started giving them away. Like, it doesn't make any sense what they do.
If you think about it, it kind of, when FTR went to AEW and, they had their tag team division there, it didn't really elevate the tag team division because they had a strong tag team division. They just didn't showcase it because they didn't have enough time to do it. And WWE probably saw that and was like, oh, we didn't make them any better. You know what I'm saying? So let's get rid of these people. They're not going to make AEW any better. But since the women's division in AEW is still growing, for them to get Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks or a Bayley, that's a big hit. That's a huge hit.
And I think Vince never got FTR, the revival.
No.
He
doesn't care about tag team wrestling.
He doesn't care about tag team wrestling, and 2, FTR epitomizes the one thing that Vince fucking detests, and that's Southern style wrestling. That's the Midnight Express. That's Rock and Roll Express. That's what they epitomize. So he was just kind of like that. No, that's not what we do here. We want the Usos and the New Day.
We saw the concept drawings for what they wanted to do.
They were going to turn them into fucking clowns, Dr. Seuss looking clowns, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I think we just eviscerated the women's. For 2 topics, we just went.
Yeah, I thought it was time to maybe end to just give them a break. I'm not too forgiving on them, but I guess we'll give them a break, man.
The only thing I'll say is, thank God they gave Zelina the Queen's crown.
I'm happy for Zelina.
Yeah, me too.
It should have been called Queen of the Ring.
I agree.
I guess that's another topic.
I'm not arguing.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go, ToeTagz, tell everybody where they can find you, when they can find you, and how they can follow everything that you guys are doing.
So I'm NKLHD _ToeTagz on Instagram and Twitter. On YouTube, it's the Nukkle Hedd Podcast. We're Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. until 12. Come stop by. It's all live. So, everybody comes in, says their opinion. We'll say your message on the stream, unless it's some racist stuff, then we gotta block you. We got a few of those.
In other words, don't be an asshole.
Pretty much.
All the assholes.
Boot them. Yeah. I love a good live. I love a good live, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, make sure you guys are following Nukkle Hedd's podcast. Follow ToeTagz. I guess we'll go ahead and get out of here for the evening. Tom, get your stuff in, man. It's your time. You didn't get it.
It's your time to shine, dude.
Go.
Follow me on social media, the OG Fit Kid, and check out this Wednesday sessions, Deconstructing the WWE.
More deconstruction of the WWE.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what the Tavern's all about, baby.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's going to do it. Court is dismissed.